And welcome everyone to another Smart Money Circle episode. I'm Adam Sarhan. With me today is Ina Braverman, who's the CEO of Eco Wave Power. Ticker symbol is WAVE, WAVE. Ina, thank you so much for taking the time and welcome to the Smart Money Circle.
Thank you for having me.
So, Ina, I always like to begin. Can you please tell us your story and how you got to where you are today?
So my story, I would say, is kind of unconventional. Really, eco-wave power is a personal passion for me. I live in Israel, but I wasn't born here. I was born in Ukraine in 1986. And 2 weeks after I was born, the Chernobyl nuclear reactor exploded, which was the largest in history nuclear disaster. I was one of the babies that got hurt from the negative effects of the explosion. So I actually had a respiratory arrest and a clinical death.
Wow.
And luckily, my mother, who's a nurse, she approached my crib on time and she looked down and she saw me pale and blue and not breathing. She gave me a mouth-to-mouth resuscitation and saved my life. Uh, I don't remember any of it, but when I was 4 years old, my family immigrated to Israel, and every time we had a family meetup or gathering, everybody would say like, "Wow, it's so cool! You got a second chance in life. You should really do something good with it." So I thought to myself all the time, "Wow, it is cool, you know. It's very unique to get a second chance in life." And I thought that really wave energy that, according to the World Energy Council, can produce twice the amount of electricity that the world produces today is definitely a cause worth pursuing with my second chance in life. And that's kind of I would say, the behind the scenes reasoning behind my establishment of EcoWave Power.
Wow. Okay. So I've had lots of people on the show, and this is one of the most interesting backgrounds I've ever heard, hands down. So, I mean, that's a massive, massive blessing. So let's talk, Ina, about your business. Tell us business story, competitive advantages, anywhere you want to go, please.
So, EcoWave Power developed a unique innovative technology for generation of clean electricity from ocean and sea waves. What's unique in our product is that we did it very differently than other wave energy developers. So 99% of wave energy developers decided to go into the offshore, which is like 4 or 5 kilometers into the ocean. And EcoWave Power, we saw that it's not really tangible right now because offshore costs a lot of money to install. You need ships, you need divers, you need underwater mooring, you need cables. Companies were building very small pilot devices for hundreds and millions of dollars. Obviously, these small pilot devices will never return the investment if they cost that much. Still, investors went ahead and invested in these like expensive offshore technologies because they thought to themselves, okay, the price is high right now, but as time goes by, the price would go down. The price of these offshore technologies, unfortunately, never went down. Most of them crashed after a few days or few months of operation in the open sea because, in the offshore, you have like tsunami waves, you have super high waves, and no man-made stationary equipment can survive the blows and the loads of such wave heights. So obviously, insurance companies were reluctant to insure offshore wave energy, high cost, low reliability. It was very difficult to connect it to the grid since, in the middle of the ocean, nobody needs the electricity. So you need to run very long cables to population density centers. And environmentalists, which were supposed to be the greatest supporters and proponents of wave energy, were actually objecting offshore wave energy because it created a new presence on the ocean floor, on the seabed, that disturbed the marine environment. So EcoWave Power we basically said to ourselves, how do we solve these 5 problems? And we said, why don't we do the same like the wind industry? For the first 100 years of wind industry, they never went to the offshore. They only built on land, like regular power stations. So we did the same. We started installing floaters on existing man-made structures such as piers, breakwater, jetties. In such a way, the only thing in the water are the floaters, and the floaters belong in the water. And all the expensive, sensitive machinery like the conversion unit, like the electronics, everything is located on land, just like a regular power station. So immediately the price was low, much, much lower than our competitors. Reliability was high because once you're connected to a seawall, we could come up with a patented storm protection mechanism. So when the wave heights are too high for the system to handle, the system just automatically rises itself above the water level and stays in the upward position until the storm passes. We're fully insurable by reputable global insurance companies. We're 100% environmentally friendly as we don't connect to the seabed. We only connect to existing man-made structures which already disturb the environment. And we're very, very easily connected to the electrical grid. since most breakwaters are built in high population density centers or ports, so you have kind of an inbuilt grid connection in that. So that's kind of the vision and the execution that we took with EcoWave Power.
Wow. Okay. So I absolutely love it. You're using ocean waves to generate power in simple terms. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yes.
A-
Yes.
Absolutely love it. Okay. Thank you for that. Let's talk about risk management. How do you handle risk, and what are some mistakes you see people make with respect to risk management?
Risk, you mean technology risks or
Business
which
risk,
type of risk?
yeah, business, technology, engineering, ocean, environment, anywhere you want to go.
So technological risks are usually more dominant, as I said, in the offshore environment where it's a less controlled environment than the nearshore and onshore. So I think once we chose to work like in an easier environment, a lot of the risks and a lot of the problems that I've mentioned earlier were solved. In terms of other risks, I would say that like you have, I wouldn't call it a risk, but I would call it a difficulty, like a regulatory difficulty, because wave energy is a very, very new source of renewable energy, as opposed to wind and solar that have been kind of, building more and more capacities. Wave energy is just starting kind of its commercialization process. So many governments or municipalities do not have, built-in licensing pathways and regulatory processes. So I would say it's not a risk, but it's a delay. Like, if you come to a market that already has the policy for you, the process is usually much faster. And another, I would say, is a lack of debt financing. Right now, wave energy cannot get debt financing, same like solar and wind 40, 50 years ago, because usually, banks want to see like larger capacities built and like, want to see some kind of more, let's say, proof of concept before they go into that financing. So most wave energy projects that are being built right now, we're doing them either with the strategic partners like Shell co-invested with us in our Port of LA project, EDF, Electricité de France, invested with us in our Israeli project. We have MOU signed with Bharat Petroleum, which is a Fortune 500 oil and gas company in India, which we're planning to work on our first project in India with. So we either need strategic partners or grants or equity financing, which is the most expensive financing, of course, that you can have. So I would definitely say that our kind of difficulties right now are delaying us a little bit, but they're not showstoppers because other renewable energy sources like wind, like solar, have been having kind of the same issues. And those issues are solved once commercialization kicked in and when they started building large capacities. And I think the same would happen to wave energy.
Absolutely fantastic. Thank you for that overview. Now let's talk about some timeless advice. What are some timeless lessons you've learned along the way, Ina, that you'd like to share with the audience? And again, business, relationships, life, anywhere you want to go.
So I would definitely say that I learned to never give up because, many times, especially when you're choosing an industry that is not traditional, like nobody's really doing wave energy super successfully in the world. So on the one hand, you're tapping into a gigantic market, huge potential for success, but also like you have nobody to copy from to say, oh, he did like a great technology. Let's see what he did and do the same and, start from there. So many times like it's difficult, you're not sure exactly like what's the right turn to take, what's the right business decision, but definitely never give up because the more persistent we are, the more opportunities open up to us. That's what I personally believe. Another business advice that I would give is to definitely follow your instincts because sometimes a founder or a CEO of a company can feel or know like what's the next right step without necessarily having the proper explanation for it. So for example, like we develop many different like generations for generation of wave energy devices or floaters that we're using for wave energy generation devices. And I'm myself not an engineer by background. So many times, like in the beginning of the company, let's say engineers showed me like sketches and they would tell me, what do you think? And I would say, listen, this looks like that's too weak, to survive the ocean forces, or I would give some advice from the side as a non-engineer, and they would say, but how do you know that you're not an engineer? And I would doubt myself. I would say, okay, how do I know that? Because like I don't have technical background. I'm younger than most of my engineers, so that's a bit kind of a problematic question. But with time, I learned to trust my instinct because sometimes the experience that we have, the passion that we have, the memory that we have of past attempts and past like generations that we built is really sufficient to know something.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Even the fact that you're not an engineer is helpful because you can see things that they can't see. In other words, two people playing chess, a third person watching can see moves the other two people can't see. I love that. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Next side of the question, the other side would be mistakes. What are some timeless mistakes either you've made, you've seen other people make, and how do you learn from them so we don't repeat them?
Uh, Mistakes. That's a hard question. I'm sure I had a lot. I would say, listen, I wouldn't. Again, I opened the company when I was 24, so I definitely didn't have the experience or kind of the years and years of management experience or money management experience that other maybe entrepreneurs or founders have. So I'm sure that I made all possible mistakes. I can't point one, but again, I'm sure that I had a lot along the way. But I don't have the tendency to kind of dwell on that. Like I don't sit here today and I'm saying, oh, 10 years ago, I should have hired this guy or I should have developed something or put more emphasis on something because I think that every mistake is a lesson learned and there's nothing more valuable than these lessons that we learn because only when you uh, go with trial and error, only when you see that something doesn't work, only when you invest in, choose to invest in the wrong ingredient, let's say, or do something that is not perfect is when you learn from it. So I would say that everything that I did wrong or right taught me a lot and helped me and Eco Wave Power to become what it is today.
No, okay, absolutely love it. And by the way, it's a general theme here. Being an entrepreneur, being successful, you've got to make mistakes. Every human makes mistakes. So the fact that you keep moving forward, you don't dwell on it, I think that's the lesson in and of itself. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. And just move forward. Don't be stuck on it.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. So next question for you, Ina, as a leader, a CEO leader, and you've been doing this since 24, which is fantastic, and hats off to you, by the way. I love entrepreneurs and especially young entrepreneurs. What are some lessons you've learned about leadership? What makes a great leader? Anything you want to speak about leadership, please?
So I think what makes a great leader is transparency. I think that it's very, very important that the leader is transparent to everybody within or outside the organization. So if it's within the organization, definitely the employees, the subcontractors, like because I saw along the way different types of leaders from other companies that, if there's something wrong, if something doesn't work right, like they tend to hide it because like they feel like maybe it implies something on their leadership skills. And usually, when it's found out, when it comes out and people find out, then I think the leader is no longer perceived as a leader. So that's a problem. And to be also very, very honest and transparent to the outside. So EcoFR, as you said, is publicly traded. We have under the stock symbol WAVE, so we have a lot of investors from all over the world. So very important to be like, again, completely honest with the investors, share the information that we can share, um, explain the pathway as much as we can, especially again, as a new technology, sometimes we create the pathway. So we cannot say, listen, we expect to get a license by this and this date because the government is just creating the licensing framework for us. So not always you know everything, but as soon as you know it, to share it, to explain the successes, to explain the delays. Like again, I think being super honest and transparent makes a great leader. Second is like a lot of ambition and persistence. So when there's hardship, not to give up, to keep trying, because in the end of the day, we as humans, I believe, are very, very smart and capable creatures. So there's no problem that we cannot solve. Like, look, mankind, we invented desalination. Like, we can turn a place with no water to a place with abundance of water. Humankind invented AI, which right now seems to be able to perform a lot of like things that even human that created it cannot. So I think that it's really, really important that if we believe in something, that we persist with it and that we kind of take all the opportunities that we get along the way. And I'll even say that from personal experience, sometimes as an entrepreneur, you kind of, it looks like how it's called when you're checking your heart. If you're
Oh,
having
the
a heart
EK,
attack, that it's
the
going up,
EKG. Yeah, the EKG. Ding,
the
ding, 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 ding.
EKG.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. So being an entrepreneur, it's a little bit, it looks like an EKG, because like of a guy that's having a heart attack, it goes up and it goes down and it goes up and it goes down, and it's very very important that even when you're down, you know how to kind of grasp opportunities. And many times it happened to me that like I was stuck or I didn't know which direction I should pursue, and when I was the most down, I went to some event that I didn't want to go to, and met the person that actually determined the next step for my company. So
yeah.
sometimes in the lowest point, you can find the best solutions.
Uh, uh, Brilliant, by the way. Absolutely fantastic. I've had similar situations in my life and journey as well. Okay, final question for you today, Ina. What is the best piece of advice you'd like to give the audience or your 30-year-old self?
Uh, I would say to the audience or to the 30-year myself, a kind of similar advice: believe in yourself. If something is really your true passion, then don't give up. Because I always say that passion is the greatest renewable energy source, even stronger than the power of the waves. So we
Very well
should
done.
keep
I love
trying
that, by the way.
until we reach.
Yeah,
Thank you, thank you.
yeah. Okay, beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Ina. Congrats on your success. Ticker symbols WAVE. We'll have everything in the description, the notes, and hopefully we'll have you on again soon. This was fantastic.
Thank you so much, Adam.